What's the password? Yes.
Open sesame.
No.
Did you hear the tragedy of Dover?
No.
No boobies.
You may enter. What's going on, guys? It's Cal here from Sabers. This is episode 21 of the warehouse vlog. And have a look at this big old difference, Jamie. We've got lovely steel doors installed. We've got our fire exit door that's been installed as well. Lovely anthracite grey to complement the window frames and the rest of the accents of the building, like the roof. These are some hefty doors. Proper security. Initially, we actually had them designed to open up on the inside. We didn't actually check the drawing too carefully when it said outside left. So when they came to install the doors, they had put them on backwards because they were swinging out like this when we had asked for it to be swinging in. So they flipped the doors around. There was these mounting holes for the door closers that were visible. And we realised that was just really ugly. So instead we told them to come back, put the doors the right way around. And what we've done is we've flattened a small threshold here, which I actually prefer, so that the driveway will come at an angle, it'll kind of come flat a bit, and now the doors can open like this. It also means we can actually park and bring things closer to the doors from the inside because it's not swinging in. We've got lovely brushed steel handles. It's got a self-holding mechanism. Here we go. This is our new entrance. That didn't work, did it?
No.
Because it's a bit windy.
Yeah.
And the weather hasn't been kind to us, and it's flipping June. We'll go inside. It's windy and cold outside. Come on, Jamie. Come in. Before it closes again. We're back inside. We're in the building. We're so happy with the way the doors look because it's just completed sort of what the outside of the building looks like. Until the driveway's done, of course. Now, if you follow me... Don't worry. We'll keep that in, Jamie, actually. So if you follow me, Jamie, we've got quite a few air conditioning boxes that were in the way of where we're going to be putting the car lift. The guys are kindly clearing up that area for us because in 3 days' time, that car lift's going to be going in. We're going to sort of tidy this area up, set it all out how we want it to be, and have everything ready for those guys coming on Monday. Not only that, we're also starting to prepare dropping the ceiling in this area. So the guys are bringing the metal frame system in, which is just laying on the floor here, ready to drop that part of the ceiling because we have started to board the ceilings. We've also put some of the face plates on the dado rails. When the guys bring the lift on Monday, we need to have this socket ready for them. So we just thought, whilst we're livening everything up for them to come, we'll have everything done in terms of the dado rail and the sockets. We're also going to put the light switches in, which we're going to do on this side, I think. We'll probably put light switch here, or actually we might do it in line with the front face work. Craig and I were talking, he is somewhere here. We're going to find him later.
I will look for you. I will find you.
We're probably going to put the light switch here, and that will turn on the hexagonal grid system that's going to be above the car area. So those lights are pretty fancy, but they look really cool. We're going to paint the ceiling black, and that will light up the car and the car is really nicely. The other door that I mentioned at the start of the episode is actually our fire door, because this is a fire exit. So if you follow me up here, so you can see there's a lot more cables going on here as well. In fact, Craig is somewhere in here, I think. All the orange cables coming down here, all of the Ethernet cables for the cameras, the doorbell chimes, everything's all going to be coming to the central point where this server rack's going to be. This area is going to be entrance to the stairwell, our fire exit, and kind of our sort of plant room, in a sense, where everything's going to be for the solar panels, aircon, and so on. Chris at Customize has got a lot of work to do here, and we're looking forward to getting that all hooked up in a few weeks' time. Now, we actually hadn't shown too much of the toilet downstairs, and for good reason. My dad had recently just changed the toilet. We've got a nice, fresh-looking white one, and you may be wondering why we didn't get a plumber to do it, but it was more because it was kind of Dad's fault. So imagine, Jamie, my dad was in the toilet, number one, and there was a concrete pole that was here, and at the same time, it actually started to fall, and instead of saving the toilet, and at the same time messing up the entire toilet because he was in the middle of his number one, it just fell and completely smashed the toilet. So for about 4 or 5 months, we just had a completely smashed toilet here, and yeah, it just wasn't something pretty to look at, wasn't nice to look at. But now that we've kind of boarded up in here, we've got a little bit of a light in here, we've got a brand new toilet, temporary toilet, obviously it's not the final toilet, we can show it off. That's about as much as I want to show of this particular toilet, so I'm going to get out of here now, just in case. What's going on out there? What's going on out there? Oh, drilling a hole. Interesting stuff. Again with the white loafers.
Damn. Daniel, back at it again with the white vans.
We have started to board the ceiling. And if you look, the back boxes start to arrive. We were told originally it was going to be 4 to 5 weeks for those back boxes to be made. But Omar, the legend, he managed to get us these in about a week so we could start preparing the ceiling and boarding the ceiling. So if you have a look, those gaps that I mentioned before in the last episode, that was where the linear lighting was going. We've started to board the ceiling, running some of the cables through. So once we've taped up the seams between the plaster boards, we can get ready to skim it next week. We've actually bought, I think, about 60 bags of multi-finished plaster in anticipation of the plastering starting next week. Once that's all been skimmed, we can put the linear lights inside the back boxes and hook them up. Without the plasterboard on, it was much darker in here because it kind of absorbed a lot of light, just that dark void above the room. But now it's starting to brighten up in here with the fact that we've put these plasterboards in place. So seeing it now and the kind of lighting design, it's nice, neat, it's flush. It's gonna be completely recessed, so nothing's gonna be protruding from the ceiling. These cables here are for the camera and the access point. We were gonna have it in the center of the room, but instead we're gonna put the camera just on that brick pier, looking into the inventory space, and the access point will just be sitting above it. So it'll be quite neat. That's everything in terms of the actual mail-in dispatch room, what's happened since last time. We haven't actually started to board the 3D printing room yet, so not much is going on in there. We've just got a lot of these cables, Ethernet cables, we've got the air conditioning cables in there. Once we get the back boxes in there, we can start to board that ceiling, but this is like the starting point. Essentially what we want to do is get the ceiling on the ground floor boarded as soon as we can, make it look a bit tidier, a bit neater. We've obviously got loads of sheets of plasterboards that we want to get out of the way. We're going to be doing more work that will require a bit more space, like that lift going in on Monday. So that's everything for downstairs. We'll head upstairs now and have a little look at what's going on up there. The recreational space is the place that we are planning to plaster first. We've started to put the plasterboard trim on. Essentially what this is, they put it on the edges of the plasterboard. Once it's skimmed, that's kind of their edging that they want to go up to. If you look above you, Jamie, we've put those back boxes in. We've put the plasterboard up against them. We've got some taping to do still on this side and just some filling of some of the gaps. And you'll also see we've left an intentional gap right above you because that's where the sounder and beacon for the fire alarm is going to go. If you have a look on this side, Jamie, you'll see what I mean about some of that taping and filling in the gaps. See those little gaps there? We've just sort of filled those in ourselves and got it a bit easier for the plasterer when they come in and they go like that when they're skimming. For the air conditioner cassette, instead of us just boarding it up completely, we've put an access panel there and we've finished the rest of the plasterboard on this area as well because this is double plastered, fire rated, and you can see these little bits of scrim tape for when the skimming starts for the plastering. We've put the door liners on all of the rooms. In fact, the door liners that we had were based on our standard door sizes, but our corridor entrances are actually a bit bigger. So we're going to use the spare door liners for the toilet downstairs and also the powder coating room, and we're going to draw up new door liners for the ends of the corridors. But if you come and have a look, Jamie, we've got the door liner in for the photo and video studio. We've got the door liner in for Mum's office. Also, speaking of the photo and video studio, we have started to put the plasterboard trim in these areas. There's not too much of an update for in here. Again, if you look up at the ceiling, we've closed that ceiling off and we've put some of that filler inside there to sort of hide the gaps between the seams of the plasterboard on the angled part of the ceiling and in the flat part. Door liners again are pretty simple. We just measured them up. They come down a little bit here. We used the standard fire door size. That's going to be cladded with that sort of Star Wars design. We decided not to bring the doors here because it's kind of a finishing touch and we were afraid if the doors would get damaged, so we didn't want to risk that. And then we've also got a brand new birdhouse. Our birdhouse is in there. The birds have occupied the area. They've also been doing number 2s on the floor, on the plywood, so we have to be careful about that. This room's a little bit messy right now, we won't go in there. Bathroom's a little bit messy as well because, again, we were putting the trim on the edges around the skylight window. If you have a look there, Jamie, all the trims around there, that'll be ready for when the plastering happens. For the kitchen, not much has changed. Again, we've just literally been drawing where the units are gonna go. We've made some markings on the wall where the fridge freezer is gonna be. We actually did narrow down this opening a little bit because it is just a storeroom. It doesn't need to be too wide, but it gave us a bit more space to work from for kitchen units. So that way, plenty of room to come in and out. It's just a storeroom, nothing crazy. And once the kitchen arrives, we can start to sort of plan everything in here, get it all laid out. We still need to plywood this floor and a little bit of the corridor. Back boxes are in. We're gonna board that up and then we'll have everything prepped ready for the kitchen. That's it for today, guys. Thanks very much for watching. As always, we really appreciate the support. If you like this kind of content, make sure that you like and subscribe to follow along for the completion of the warehouse. And we will see you in the next episode. Peace. I can't go any further, Jamie. Help. So what we've got going on as well,
What's that?
this thing here,
Yeah.
this is a $3,000 mistake that my dad made. He bought a hubless bike on Kickstarter, probably during the pandemic, I think it was, and it was only delivered about a year ago. This thing is so noisy, uncomfortable, it's kind of in the way of me doing some work in the garage at home. So I've kindly put it here safe and sound because, yeah, it doesn't really get used. How many times have you ridden this, Dad?
None of your business.
Okay then.